Okay. We'll go ahead and open up the questions now. We'll start right down here in front.
Stephen Johnson, Daily Memphian. Penny, a couple times this season you felt like you had one of the best front court and maybe the best front court in the nation. I guess how excited are you for Jalen, Dre, and the rest of those guys to kind of be able to prove that on Saturday against Drew and Chet?
Yeah, no, that's exciting for me and for them because Drew and Chet are awesome. You know, they work well together. They're both fantastic players. And for Jalen and DeAndre to have the opportunity to play against those guys is going to be fun.
Terry Davis, Tri-State Defender. Win or lose, Coach, has it been a successful season in your eyes?
I really don't want to answer that question, Terry D. I'm kind of I just feel like while I'm still in the moment, my mind stays in the moment. I think if that happens, then I try to go, to that. So now I'm just locked in on winning the game. And to me, the season, the regular season we could talk about was a success because we got to where we needed to get to. The AAC championship wasn't because we lost in the championship game to a good Houston team. Right now, it's the second postseason. We're doing well, and we're going to lock in on that. But I can say the regular season was a success.
Jason Munn's Commercial Appeal, Coach. How do you plan to defend Drew and Chet? Are there certain matchups?
I think you just look at film and just figure it out. Those two guys are just at least 95% of the games or even higher that they played, they've dominated. St. Mary's had some success. A couple others to Alabama maybe had a little success, but those guys are so awesome. You just try to put them in tough situations, and we watched them play so much this year that it's like them like the back of your hand because they've been on TV dang near every week, and we're always watching. So I can't say right now we're about to go to our second practice to put the defensive schemes in, but we're going to have something to hopefully try to bother those guys a little bit.
Jeff Calkins from the Daily Memphian. How much fun are you having, Penny?
I'm having lots of fun. I'm taking it all in. I really am. I'm taking it all in for our city, for our school, for the players, because I know how important this really is.
Mark Giannotto, Commercial Appeal. I'm curious, Penny, going back to the game yesterday, you played 12 guys in the first half, some lineups that you hadn't played before. What went into that decision, and then was that a one-game thing, or is that the way you ran the lineups in that game? Is that something you'll carry forward into this Gonzaga game?
I just felt like yesterday the strength in numbers would help us. They had one primary ball handler. We get enough bodies out there to try to wear them down because they really didn't want to play their bench. And that was just my philosophy on that, and we went into halftime with a nice lead. Second half, kind of cut the rotation. They cut into the lead, didn't sub as much, and got into a battle. So I don't know how I'm going to do it against Gonzaga. I just kind of have a feel for that. But in the first half, I definitely knew in that game that we'd have to try to wear those guys down.
Did you notice, sorry, follow up real quick, did you notice at all that at one point you had like a lineup with 4 of your East High players on the floor at the same time?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah? Was that purposeful?
That was purposeful because they're familiar with one another. They know how to communicate. And any fifth guy out there with them, they would tell them what to do because they know my style, they know our system, and they've won together.
Cassie Carlson, Action News 5. Penny, how is Alo's ankle today, and was he a full participant in practice?
He did not because we just held him out. It's not like he couldn't. He was on the sideline doing exercises the entire practice, and he told me he felt great. But it's still going to be some pain in there because it's an ankle that's been injured before this year and last year. But he's doing pretty good today. He wasn't grimacing or anything. He was over just doing exercises.
So you think he'll play tomorrow?
Yeah, I think he'll play.
Tim?
Penny, Tim Booth from the AP. You've played with and seen a lot of unique talents through your basketball career. I'm wondering, when you look at Chet for Gonzaga, what sort of stands out his skills that he brings to the court?
Everything. I got really close with Chet because I recruited him for like a year and a half. I knew he wasn't coming to Memphis, but I just kind of built a relationship with just FaceTiming him and talking to him, and just to understand who he is. When you talk to him personally, he's all about competing. He's about excellence. He's tough. Even though he's small frame, he's very tough mentally and physically, and he's not going to back down from anything. So his skill set, along with that mentality, is who he is and what we see every game. And I marvel. You see a Kevin Garnett, you see guys that are very tall, they can handle the ball, shoot threes, make passes, and I've always loved this game, and he's just a terrific player. Every part of his game I love. He's just a winner.
Jeff Calkins again from the Daily Memphian. Landers said this feels to him like a number 1 seed against a number 1 seed. Is that what it feels like to you?
Well, I can honestly say that I really feel like we're not a 9 seed with our talent. We didn't handle business in the beginning of the season and put ourselves in a predicament where we had to be a 9 seed, but I just don't think that we're a 9 seed. So it's not 1 versus 9 in this. You know, they've earned their right to be the number 1 overall seed because they have consistency in their culture, and we've earned the right to be in this tournament, but I just don't think overall we're a 9 seed.
Dave Woloshin, Memphis Radio. Penny, you've analyzed Chet Holmgren. Talk about what Duren has to do for you in this game.
I think Jalen has to stay out of foul trouble. If he stays out of foul trouble, his God-given talent will take over. His strength, his speed, his athleticism, his toughness, his competitiveness. He wants to compete against the best, and we're going to play the best. So if he stays out of foul trouble, he'll be okay.
Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com. Penny, I don't know if you got this far in the process, but did you envision Chet playing with Jalen sort of the high-low that he and Timmy have at Gonzaga?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part. I'm sorry.
Sort of the high-low that he plays with Timmy at Gonzaga. Is that what you envisioned with him and Duren when you were recruiting him?
Well, I didn't know I was going to get Jalen when I was recruiting Chet. I just wanted Chet. I knew he would make a huge difference for our program because of the type of player he was and the type of person he was. And, you know, I definitely didn't know Jalen was going to reclass and that we were going to get him. Now, recruiting both of those at the same time, that would have been awesome. They would have been great together for sure. But that same thing would have happened, I'm sure, if Chet would have been at Memphis with those 2 guys.
Do we have any questions from the Zoom room? If we do, please raise your hand, and we'll open up your mic. We'll go ahead and take other questions from the room.
Stephen Johnson, Daily Memphian. As good as Drew and Chet are, they also have pretty good guards. I think 3 in double figures. Almost all of them are shooting almost 40% from 3. I guess how dangerous are they, and what are you guys going to have to do to kind of contain them as well?
Very dangerous. They're fast. They get the ball up the court on makes and misses. And Julian and Bolton, they both shoot the ball extremely well. Everyone on this team knows their role. They know how to get out on the wings and spot up in transition to get threes. They know how to play out movement out of the double team and getting ready to shoot. And then Andrew, we're very familiar with him because we played Montverde 3 times in 1 year. He played in 2 of those games. And he's a crafty, very smart, very tough guard that knows how to run the show. So, you know, you have to pick your poison with those guys.
Coach Joe McHale with KHQ and SWX in Spokane. Just curious how you compare coaching and then playing in the NCAA tournament. Is one more nerve-wracking than the other?
I think being a coach is more nerve-wracking, but I prepared the same. You know, as a point guard, I've always watched film. I've always been an extension of the coach on the floor. I was prepared for play calls, whatever they're going to call. I was telling my teammates. I've always just been a basketball person, and so that's carried over to the coaching. I study the films. I watch 5 or 6 games of each team to try to get tendencies, but obviously we're very familiar with Gonzaga because they're always on TV. And it's kind of similar to me because of being a point guard, being an extension of the coach, and now being the coach. But it's more nerve-wracking as a coach because I can't get out on the court and do anything. I have to give the instructions, and they have to go out and do it.
Jeff Calkins again from the Daily Memphian. I know you didn't want to comment on whether this year is a success, but this 4-year journey you've had to be sitting up here, I'm sure it took twists and turns that you didn't expect, but is tomorrow's game the kind of game and the kind of opportunity you expected when you took this job?
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, I inherited Coach Tubby Smith's team, so that year I just tried to do the best I could, and the guys played hard for me. The second year was a COVID year. James Wiseman left, and it was a COVID year. Last year I felt like we should have made the tournament. I didn't coach well enough to get us there. We just didn't do it. This year we came back, started off slowly, got it together, and then got to this point, so I'm very proud to be here. And then to be able to play against the number 1 overall seed in the tournament is all that you can hope for. You know, a lot of people always say be careful what you wish for. I've always wanted to play the best. Gonzaga is the best. You got to beat great teams to get to where you want to go, and we look forward to playing them tomorrow.
Terry Davis, Tri-State Defender. Every coach that you played this year said Memphis wants to speed you or Memphis wants to speed you up. Gonzaga is a really high-speed tempo game. So how do you speed a team up that already goes fast?
That's a good question, to be very honest with you, because Coach Few has done a phenomenal job in this culture of getting kids to come there to play together and play the right way. And the right way is getting the ball up the court and being selfless and getting the ball to whoever the hot guy is, knowing to get the ball to Chet, get the ball to Drew, and then all those guys play at high levels for the entire 40 minutes. They don't take plays off. And how do you speed up a team that's already fast? I really don't know that. I'll have to have another day to try to get this together before we get to the game.
Hi, Penny. Travis Green from Crim 2 News in Spokane. You talked about recruiting Chet and knowing him for so long. Does that give you an advantage in preparing for this game, and does that help you maybe talk to Jalen, because you might know Chet a little bit better than some coaches out there might know him?
I'm not on the court, but I can just give suggestions about what I think. And if you played against Chet before, if you know Chet, you know who he is. There's no guessing with him. You know exactly what you're going to get. So these guys have seen enough to know that he's a dominant force on both ends. Shot blocking is elite. And then his playmaking ability and his game on the offensive end, how unselfish he is elite. So, yeah, I can get some tidbits, but for the most part, these guys really already know who Chet is.
Lindsay?
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Penny, Tara Vanderveer, the Stanford women's coach and defending national champ, pledged yesterday to donate $10 for every three-pointer made in the women's NCAA tournament and put that money toward humanitarian effort in Ukraine. She has challenged every coach in the men's and women's NCAA tournament to join her. I think she would have men's coaches donate $10 for every three made in the men's tournament. I wondered if you knew about that and if you will be accepting that challenge.
I didn't know about it, and it's our team, however many threes we make.
No, it's however many threes are made in the entire NCAA tournament.
Okay.
To give a lot of money.
I need to call Tara. And kind of ask her, can I just give a donation? I don't know if I can even commit to that because, obviously I want to be a part of it. So I'm sure I can get in touch with Coach, but I don't know about. I'll give a donation.
Her SID is tracking it for her.
Okay, we'll talk to the SID. I'll get with you after this. Why'd you put me on the spot like that? Great question, though.
Other non-financial questions, please.
Marching out of the commercial appeal, what will Emoni Bates' role be in this game?
I think, obviously he's on a minutes restriction. I didn't want to put him back in the second half. He looked great in the first half. I think he gained some confidence from that, so you might see him a little bit more. And we're just going to play it by ear, and see how it goes. But he definitely will get in the game.
Penny, Brenna Green, Crim 2 News. You mentioned the fact that guys on your team have played Chet before and have that experience. Just what have they said about playing him and what that experience is like?
No, they respect him to the utmost because he's just a true professional. He goes about his business the right way on both ends of the floor, and they understand he's a true competitor. You can go in the game and try to say you're going to rough him up. He's not going to let you do it. That's not who he is. You could talk about not letting him get offensive rebounds and blocking him out. He's like Plastic Man. He'll get a rebound over you and then grab the ball and still dunk the ball. So you just have to come to compete when you play against him, and we all know that. So they all know that, obviously, for sure. He's just done a phenomenal job on this level of people not understanding what he was going to do when he got to this level, and he showed them quickly, and he's continuing to show everyone.
Penny, me again. I won't ask you about money this time. To Chet, you point out that Gonzaga's on TV all the time. Do you recall a play watching him earlier, a highlight that you were just blown away by? Do you have a favorite Chet highlight?
I've watched him so much from high school. I've studied his tapes. I've watched him in person, and I've always watched him. But the best play I've seen of the year was, I forget who it was against. Maybe UCLA, maybe. He took it coast to coast, went behind the back, and then took off and dunked it. That's just who he is. That's just a spectacular play for a 7-footer. They have that skill. We see it in the NBA all the time. We don't see it in college all the time.
Any other questions? All right, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.